G'day everyone, welcome to Inside Rugby with Mark. If you haven't been here before, my name is Mark. I'm a retired Kiwi bloke. I'm a huge rugby fan and I'm living here in beautiful Cancun in Mexico. So let's get on with today's show. G'day everyone, welcome to Inside Rugby with Mark. I hope you're all doing pretty well. Look, this year I've been celebrating my 50th anniversary of watching international test rugby, and it's been absolutely fantastic. And I was just thinking the other day, if I was to put together a dream team from 1974 through to 2024, what would it look like? So I've decided to give that a go, and I didn't realize in doing it how difficult it was going to be to pick 23 players to form this dream team. So one proviso I've put on this is that I've made this team up of the players that I've enjoyed watching the most over the last 50 years. So it doesn't mean they're the best players, but in my opinion, they're the ones that I've been entertained by the most in those particular positions. Now, I'm sure you're going to have a whole host of other options available, so why don't you let me know what those are in the comments. So over the last 50 years, there's been a lot of great props and hookers, of course, but the three that make my dream team are going to be Oxen Chair. We're going to have John Schmidt from South Africa as well, and we're going to have Cian Healy from Ireland. John Schmidt, don't forget, that 2007 Rugby World Cup winner for South Africa, and used to love watching him play. And of course, in recent times, I've watched Cian Healy get his milestone for Ireland in terms of the number of caps. And Oxen Chair, as we all know and probably agree, has had an outstanding season this season in World Rugby. So there you go, that's my front row for my dream team. Now moving on to the locks, and this was extremely difficult as well, but again focusing on players that I've loved watching over the years. And my number 4 and 5 will be Eben Etzebeth from South Africa and also Sam Whitelock from New Zealand. Yes, both absolutely instrumental in both of their teams at the different times that they played. And also Eben Etzebeth still going around, of course, for South Africa with the most caps now of any South African Springbok. I'd love to see those two guys play in the same team. I think it'd be absolutely amazing stuff. And then moving on to my loose forwards, well, this again was extremely difficult. If you go all the way back to 1974, we've had some outstanding loose forwards in World Rugby. But the two for me that I've loved enjoying over all those years, the number 6 has to be Pieter Steph du Toit. He's just absolutely fantastic. If you watch any of my rugby videos on this channel regarding South Africa, you know I'm always talking up a storm about Pieter Steph du Toit. He's the all-round rugby player as far as I'm concerned and can do no wrong. Absolutely incredible in that number 6 jersey. And as a Kiwi, well, I can't have Richie McCaw not in my team. And there's a lot of reasons I loved Richie McCaw and watching him play for the All Blacks. He was always taking it to the edge of the law, and I know many of you will say that he was always illegal. And I just love the way that he did that. He stoked up the opposition fans in so many different ways. And that's what I used to love about Richie McCaw. And then moving on to the number 8. Well, again, we've got so many choices going all the way back to 1974. But for me, Zinzan Brooke from New Zealand has been one of the best number 8s in World Rugby over the last 50 years. And his just extraordinary talent when it came to being able to play in open play. You'll remember that drop goal. You'll never forget that drop goal from Zinzan Brooke. And yeah, he was just one of the players that I used to love watching years ago for the All Blacks. So there you go. That's my starting 8 for my dream team since 1974. Let me know in the comments who else you would have in the forwards. There's been some fantastic halfbacks in World Rugby over the last 50 years, and some of them who haven't made my list today include the likes of Sid Going for the All Blacks, was absolutely fantastic in the 1970s. And then we've had Oost van Westhuizen, of course, for South Africa. I used to love watching him play as well. He was absolutely brilliant. And of course, we've had the likes also of George Gregan for Australia, was a brilliant halfback. So the man that's made my list is in my number 9 for this particular team is Gareth Edwards from Wales, of course. Absolutely fantastic player. We should call him Sir Gareth Edwards nowadays, of course. But I used to love watching him when I was a young boy. He was absolutely fantastic and did so many great things on those Lions tours. And I used to really, really love watching him play. Now moving on to the number 10 jersey, and again there's a plethora of players I could have picked in this position, but I've gone with Dan Carter from the All Blacks. I just think he was absolutely a generational player for the All Blacks. Did so many wonderful things, not only with his kicking, particularly from the tee, his left foot masterful kick, but also his running, scoring tries, ability to inject pace into the back line for the All Blacks. It's something that I think we're really missing in today's team. In the All Blacks is a number 10 of that quality that Dan Carter brought to the All Blacks. So he's my number 10 in this dream team. And then moving on, outside him, well, there's only one man that could be outside Dan Carter in my opinion, and that's Ma'a Nonu from the All Blacks as well. Still playing rugby at the age of 41 in San Diego for the Legions. Absolute legend he is, Ma'a Nonu. But if you go back and watch some of his highlights of his tries on YouTube, you'll find out what a wrecking ball Ma'a Nonu was. And he really changed the shape and power of that All Black backline throughout his career with the All Blacks. So he gets my nod in the number 12 jersey. And then moving outside, one of the players I've always respected throughout my tenure of watching rugby across the world, number 13 goes to Brian Miskell from Ireland, and he was an absolutely fantastic player for Ireland, played so many games for them, made the Irish and Lions team as well, and unfortunately had some troubles with injury during that process. But Brian O'Driscoll for me was a thinking man's number 13. He was able to read the game very, very well and do some extraordinary things, particularly for his outside men at number 13, and that's why he gets a nod for me in my dream team. Now moving out to the wingers, and again we've had so many fantastic wingers over the years, not only for the All Blacks but also for a lot of other teams. The likes of Campese we can think of as well, who played obviously for Australia. But for me, the two wingers that really settle in my mind in terms of the last 50 years of watching rugby, one of them is Jonah Lomu and the other is Cheslin Kolbe. Those two guys, absolutely fantastic, and really two different stereotypes, aren't they? You've got Jonah Lomu, the big bust size of a man who changed rugby on a global basis, and you've got Cheslin Kolbe, the smaller, more intricate man who was fantastic on his feet, doing all sorts of great things across a rugby field. And those are the two wingers that I've decided to choose for my team. Now moving on to fullback, again there's been so many great fullbacks. Christian Cullen comes to mind for the All Blacks. He was one of the silkiest runners I've ever seen. You've got the likes of Serge Blanco, who played for France as well, was another fantastic fullback. Andy Irvine was fantastic for the Scottish as well. I remember watching him in one of the very first international matches I ever watched in New Zealand live when Scotland were on tour. He was absolutely brilliant. But for me, the man that really sticks in my memory as the best 15 is JPR Williams. He was absolutely fantastic, the Welshman, who also played for the British and Irish Lions, and he gets the nod in the 15 jersey in my dream team. So there you go, that's my backline. Pull it to pieces, put your ones out there and let me know who you would select. Don't forget, it's over the last 50 years, so plenty of choices to be able to put in the comments. Now, coming up with a bench for this team was again an extraordinarily difficult task. So I tried to do my best based on the players I remember over all of the years and who's been really outstanding in my opinion. And when we look at the front row that will come on from my bench, well, there's two Englishmen and a South African there. Yes, I'm talking about Malcolm Marx coming on as the hooker, and then the two props, Fran Cotton and Jason Leonard. Two men that I really respect who played fantastically and gave their services to the English national team, and will go down in my opinion as a couple of the best props that have ever played the game. So there you go, that would be my front row that I would bring on. And then going on to the other two forwards that I'd have coming off the bench, well, you can't go past R.G. Schneemann in my opinion. He's one of the best bench players in my opinion that's ever been in world rugby. He's absolutely brilliant when he comes on, and just that offload capability that he has. Imagine him with this team, he would be able to do all sorts of chaos. And then the other player I have coming off the bench is the brilliant Willie John McBride. Yes, I used to watch him playing over the years, and he was one of those players that would keep going all day long, but I think he was a great impact player as well. So I'd expect Willie John McBride to come off the bench in my particular team. And then moving on to the backs that would come off the bench to have a dramatic impact in any game that this team played. 2 Frenchmen and a Kiwi. And the 2 Frenchmen, Anton Dupont, you can't leave him out of any dream team, I don't believe. Serge Blanco, I mentioned him before. Well, I'd like to see him come off the bench in this particular team. Outstanding runner, counter-attacker, can score tries from anywhere, which he did throughout his career for France. So I'd have Serge Blanco coming off the bench and also Will Jordan. So there we go. That would be my dynamic bench that would come on and try and cause some chaos. So there you go. I've tried to select 23 players from 1974 through to 2024 over the last 50 years that I've enjoyed watching play at the international level in our great game. Now let me know in the comments who you would put in this 23. I'd love to read all the thoughts you've got, particularly of some of the older generational players. Okay, there we go for this video. If you've enjoyed it and you want me to do some more of this stuff, I might put together a dream team of each country. So look at the All Blacks from 1974 through to 2024. Put together my best 23 I can choose. I'll do it for South Africa, for Ireland, for Wales, for England. Let me know if you want me to do that in the comments and I'll have a go at it as well. Okay, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching Inside Rugby with Mark. I'll be back again soon with some more rugby content. Until then, stay safe, stay well everyone, and it's time to say adios from beautiful Cancun in Mexico. Bye for now.